It's the field level football podcast of the West Coast, man. What a day, what a day. CT, how you doing, man?
I'm all good, brother, man. How you feeling?
Good, bro. I'm good. I'm trying to, right now, we trying to get Quan on here, man.
You know it. That's why I'm smiling.
I'm doing the extracurricular activities, man. I got the sent it to him, sent the link to him, sent it to you. Quan here now though. He's in the building.
Appreciate you.
He's currently backstage waiting to come on, getting his hair right, making sure that everything is everything. You know what I'm saying? But CT, bro. What a day.
What a day.
Quan? What's up, bro?
What's up, man?
Man, I'm living. I'm here. It was a tough day. I mean, well, I guess it depends. I mean, I really don't have a horse in the fight, so I really don't, you know what I'm saying? It ain't too bad. But man, what a day filled with heartbreakers, right? It was like Saturday, it was pretty much blowouts, right? The Packers beat up on the Rams, the Ravens beat up on the Bills beat up on the Ravens. But today, like, bro, fingernails, I don't even have none anymore, bro.
Hey, man, these kind of days call for it. These kind of games, man. It's when it's the good teams. There's no more cakewalks. All the good teams are playing against each other. They should be close. They should be heartbreakers. But yeah, man, a lot of good football, a lot of questionable football, I should say.
Very much so, man. We got Mercedes Pedro's on here, man. Shout out to her. Chris, what's going on, bro? Greg, what's good with you, fam? But let us just jump right in, rip the Band-Aid off and kind of just jump into this recap. First game that we're going to deal with was the first game that was played in this divisional round, and that was the Packers versus the Rams. Packers v. Rams. Packers end up pulling that game out 32 to 17, or 32 to 18, apologies. But Quan, how'd you feel about that game in particular?
My bad. You said the Ram game, right?
Yes.
I predicted it, man. I'm just okay. Let me just put this out in the air. I think Lamar Jackson could be, or he is a franchise quarterback. But with that being said,
how you go from Packers and Rams to Lamar Jackson?
Oh, you said my bad. I thought you said Ravens. My bad.
Nah, bro. It's all good. Packers and Rams, bro.
Hey, that's what lets you know where my mind is at.
You already ready to hop on Lamar, bro. Already.
Already. Okay, my bad. Packers, Rams. Okay. Clearly, you see Aaron Donald tried to gut it out. He just wasn't healthy. He wasn't himself. He got no pressure. He was out of the game. You could tell very early in the game when he almost got when he got a personal foul call for doing too much after the play. He's frustrated. Not really at the game. He's frustrated with himself because he's not himself. You know what I mean? So
right.
I feel bad for that. The Packers did exactly what I thought they should do. Move Devontae Adams around, and whenever Devontae went inside to the slot, Jalen did not go there. That's just not his game. And I think we talked about it. Jalen kind of seemed like dejected from the game a little bit when it came to certain things as far as his effort on tackling and things of that nature. But for the most part, Jalen, he was okay. The Rams, I thought the Rams did okay. It's just when you have everything going against you, unhealthy Jared Goff, Cam Akers was cool, but when you're not going to push the ball vertically, basically because you can't, and then the Packers just condense the field, and then it has to be like you have to play perfect. You got to play mistake-free football and use your possessions to get points. Well, once Green Bay got up by 2 scores, it was pretty much a wrap after that because they're not that explosive to begin with when they're fully healthy anyway. So shout out to the Packers, man. I'm gonna let y'all break down the Pack even more, but I'm just gonna say this, man. Aaron Rodgers played great.
He's a bad man, bro.
He played great, but I'm very, very happy that that Lazard is reclaiming that number 2 spot because he was unhealthy pretty much for a lot of the year too. But
Right, and he had a drop, man. That was kind of like, bro, he had to come back and kind of really redeem himself because he had a drop early that was pretty nasty. Will say this though, man. I thought that the Rams played decent. I think that they were just at this point they were overmatched, right? You had no Cooper Cup, and it was kind of odd to me because I know that I want to say, is it Henderson and Brown, right? I know Brown for sure played, but Cam Akers got literally every running back carry in that game, 18 carries, 90 yards. They didn't diversify the backfield, which I thought was interesting. On top of the fact, man, the Packers ran the ball very, very well, man. You had Aaron Jones who had 14 for 99. You had Williams who had 12 for 65. That's quality. That's quality, right? It's a lot of quality carries there. And then, like you said, Lazard, I think it was so much focus on Devontae Adams and making sure that they shut Devontae down. That opened the game up for Lazard and Valdez-Scantling. They both made some solid catches down the stretch. Lazard with the late one down the middle for the touchdown. But, it was a lot of good passes. I mean, a lot of good, openings in that defense because you had Devontae claiming so much of the attention. And I think it goes to say even furthermore, being around Devontae in this offseason a little bit, I was around him a couple of days, hung out with him for a little while. And he said, I asked him straight up. I said, Devontae, like, what do you feel like? How do you feel about those corners that you go up against, week in and week out? Devontae Adams literally said to me, they're soft. All of them, right? And I think it goes to show, now we all know Jalen Ramsey is serviceable, but we all know he's a really great cornerback. Let's not, I'm not going to paint that portrait.
No, that's just his mentality, though.
Right, but what I will say is I thought it was telling that after the game, Devontae Adams comes out and says, I went up to him before the game. And I said to him, why the people are here. You know what they want to see. Follow me.
See, I don't like that because he know he's not.
I love it.
He know he's not gonna do that. He's saying it because he know he's not gonna do that. Come on, man.
That's something Pat would say to a linebacker back in the day.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but he ain't gonna do that.
No, but I think that was pretty solid though, man. I mean, because it sets a precedent. It lets you know I'm here all day. And tomorrow. And I think that the Rams played solid, but I think that at the end of the day, like you said, I said this on Wednesday. I said Aaron Donald's hurt.
Yeah.
And we wasn't putting a lot of, wasn't giving a lot of validity, but Aaron Donald was really hurt. And you saw it. He couldn't go. Yeah. My man was crying after the game just because he felt helpless.
Yeah.
And that's what you saw was a lot of helplessness. Mm-hmm. I expected more though from Leonard Floyd. I expected more from Michael Brockers. Not one sack.
I expected more than most out of Michael Brockers because you also got a C on your chest. You got to be able to do something.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was, not even – I don't even think he got hurried, bro.
Yeah,
I don't even think he got hurried. So, that was interesting. CT, how'd you feel about it?
I'll start with the Rams. Obviously, you got to feel for Aaron Donald just as a competitor. He wasn't at his best. And I think that his energy and how down he was, was shown through the entire defense. Maybe that is why you didn't see it. There's no excuse. They got to show up and play, especially this time of year. But definitely see that as a detriment to that defense, and it took a lot of their energy out. I think, Pat, you said it best. They were clearly overmatched. The one thing that you can say for certain about the offense is Cam Akers is finally the guy. There's unquestionably no doubt about it. Going into next year, they're going to have to put some emphasis on strengthening that offensive line and getting him set up, because I think at this point we know who Jared Goff is. And if you're going to keep him as your quarterback, if you're going to keep him as your quarterback, Cam Akers better start running crazy. Get the ball out of Goff's hands immediately, get him a better offensive line, and he can be serviceable enough for this team to be pretty solid because McVay is a magician. And then as we move forward, I don't really have too much more on the Rams there. Actually, I do want to talk about the head coaching situation.
Hey, real quick,
that was weird.
JP, is that Juan? I pray that's not Juan saying. If that's Juan saying he don't feel like Donald would have made a huge difference healthy. Juan, I'm disappointed if that's how you feel, bro. Seriously, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It would have been totally different.
And then obviously Aaron Rodgers is that guy, man. modern day GOAT, man, in my opinion. I think he's one of the best of all time. His physical traits are the prototypical, this is what I want out of a quarterback. And he's cocky about it, which makes it fun. Not necessarily always what you want to hear, but definitely makes it fun. Aaron Jones, way to solidify yourself as, a top back in the league, honestly.
Right.
And then Williams, a good complementary back, always has been. So it's good to see that pairing. Lazard, yes, I do believe he solidified himself at that 2 spot, and he played well when he wasn't hurt earlier in the year. Devontae's Devontae, man. Well, I wouldn't expect anything less. 10 targets and 9 receptions. That's amazing. Just shows how important he is to the offense. We never talk about kickers. Mason Crosby, 2 for 2. That's important. Appreciate that.
That is important. That is very important.
And defensively, they're starting to surprise me more and more. I think they're much more balanced this season. You can tell that their coach definitely has influence in that locker room. He's youthful, he has energy, and he has his team firing. 2 trips to the NFC Championship game in 2 years. This is a really, really good team, man, and we can discuss predictions as we go forward. But I'm excited about what Green Bay can put out there, especially next week.
Hey, real quick, I do want to add this last little point about you guys know how I always say, like, competition is needed at every position. You can't just be having like a star and then the rest of them be dropping off. Two things I want to say. CT, you mentioned Jamal Williams really solidified himself to being like, a nice complimentary back. We were just talking about last week how AJ Dillon is starting to take over, and he was the high 2nd round draft pick running back because Williams is about to be out of Green Bay going to free agency. He pretty much told you, I'm not going anywhere. And you saw that in his running style because, might I say, I think he ran the hardest out of all 3 of them. The hardest. I'm not saying.
I would argue that he said he's not saying, no, I'm not going anywhere. He's saying, give me some money and send me somewhere that want me.
Or that too. Or that too. And then my last thing is, can we stop with the whole, and I don't know if I was a contributor to this, so because I don't remember back in our archive. So if I'm on the other side of this in the beginning, I want to take it back now. But if I didn't, can we stop saying Aaron Rodgers don't got no weapons? Because I don't like the whole, if you don't draft someone in the 1st round, you don't got, man. He got weapons. Lazard can probably start on a lot of teams.
Okay, so let's be careful.
Don't say
is he getting 1st round talent on a consistent basis offensively? We all know that's not true. However, have they developed their talent enough to work within the system and be effective? Yes.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is Valdez-Scantling, I think, can start somewhere else than Green Bay. I'm not saying he can start for every team, but he can start somewhere else.
I will say, man, Robert Tonyan is a top 5 tight end in the NFC.
And Tonyan didn't even start the season as the starter. So he can start for other teams. Lazard can start for other teams. If you can start on other teams other than the one you have, then I think you can't use the, he don't got enough weapons argument. So going forward
on those teams, though, brother.
Yeah, I think it is safe to say though too, because I seen Greg put this in the chat. The Rams secondary definitely got exposed, man. Because all season, like Greg said, they had that D line to help them out. But definitely going into this game, we thought so highly of TJ Hill. We thought so highly of Johnson III. And them boys was getting wrecked in that game. So, definitely, and even this. Hill for sure, Hill. But even this, I think we were texting Quan, and you was like, Jalen Ramsey was in zone. I'm like, nah, bro, I'm watching this game. Devontae Adams was whooping Jalen Ramsey off the line of scrimmage.
No, you right.
And J Ram, a couple times he fell off to make it look like it was zone. Nah, bro, you was a man, and that boy mixed you. And he mixed them. I don't know if y'all remember, it was a pass on the left or right side. It was like a spot, quick spring to the receiver. And it was one-on-one with Devontae and J Ram. Boy,
he got inside.
I said, J Ram. Don't do it to him. Yeah. Don't do it to J Ram like that. But going on to the next game, man, Ravens versus the Bills. Here we go. We're here. I felt bad, man, as I thought back, right? I went back to the archives at the field level. I picked the Ravens to win this game, right?
Yes, you did.
As I went back to the archives of the field level, I realized I picked the Bills to win the Super Bowl. So how could I pick against them in the conference? I mean, the conference, conference round. Anyway, so I have to then rescind it. I made a mistake. That's my bad. I'll eat it. I admit, I
You're
hope somebody's
human.
on here.
You're
I
human.
admit that I'm human and I messed up on that. But I will say this, man, the Bills looked impressive. Though there was not a lot of statistical glory, so to speak. Josh Allen threw for a mediocre 206 when it comes to Josh Allen, right? We're doing it by Josh Allen standards. A mediocre 206. Devin Singletary just still continues to kind of
disappoint, let's be honest.
7 carries for 25 yards. This is kind of what I was talking about on Wednesday night show. But I mean, Diggs, here we go. Once again, a situation where I say one thing, a guy keeps playing good enough to have me kind of rescind my statement. Diggs is elite right now. Definitely elite right now.
Oh yeah.
And I was giving him a very, very good player. But I mean, definitely a situation now where he's moved himself into the elite category for me personally. However, as I flip this, I'm struggling really, really tough to put blame on Lamar Jackson or Greg Roman.
We talked about this.
I can't really decipher which way I want to place my blame, but blame has to be placed somewhere. Lamar Jackson just didn't look good at all. At no point in this game, not one throw where I was like, that was a solid throw. That was a solid read. He did good, in this position. They brought Greg Roman in simply because Greg Roman had so much success with Colin Kaepernick. Let's just call a spade a spade. And they were saying that they thought Colin Kaepernick and Lamar Jackson's playing styles were similar. However, that is not the case. Colin Kaepernick can slang that thing.
Absolutely.
I mean, slang it. Lamar Jackson's not that guy. So when you're trying to, mimic an offense in which the prior quarterback really could throw the ball, and then you're dealing with now a guy who just doesn't have that passer to the magnitude in which I would hope he did. So it was either that, and then on the backside of that, the Ravens have no receivers, bro.
We've been saying that for years, though,
bro. Like Willie Snead and Earl and not Earl, but Boykins and even Hollywood. Like Hollywood is like, decent. You know what I mean? Like very decent.
I don't like where this convo is going.
And I'm just saying, though, I have to also look at the issue, because I can't say Lamar Jackson's the issue, but then I also look and he has Willie Snead starting. Miles Boyd, it's like, all right, cool. Like that's, J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards both went for 10 carries, 42 yards, both of them, literally. And then you had J.K. who then added 51 in the pass game. But then I also seen this. This is also what I seen. Same defense for the Bills out there. And I'm not saying he did nothing crazy, but I seen Tyler Huntley trying to push the ball downfield.
That's where I was going in the beginning of the show. I
seen Tyler Huntley taking shots downfield.
Talk about it.
And Lamar just wasn't taking those shots. And I'm telling you, the old adage goes, you're going to miss 100% of the shots that you don't take.
Facts.
And that's kind of what we saw there. Quan, on you, bro.
Hey, I'm glad you bring it up because I didn't want to be the only one so he can call me a hater. Look, for what it's worth, Tyler Huntley just straight up threw the ball better than Lamar Jackson. Straight up. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm going to get rid of the talking point that somebody's going to probably say, and when they say, well, it was at the end of the game and they were playing. No, it wasn't. It was a 2-score game, and they drove both of the drives. They drove down the field. They just didn't come up on 4th down one time, and the other time Mark Andrews dropped it in the end zone. So Huntley just threw the ball better than Lamar Jackson, straight up. So we got that out the way. I blame it has to go on both Greg Roman a little bit and on Lamar Jackson. I wanted to bring up something about Lamar Jackson when he played in college at Louisville, right? He played in a predominantly spread offense, right? Mm-hmm. Easier reads, correct? Mm-hmm. Easier reads, quick throws, get the ball.
More routes in the tree.
There's more routes in the tree. So maybe they need to implement that into their offense now going forward with Lamar, because one can say he can't throw the ball consistently down the field, but then another could say, well, maybe he needs more opportunities to do that, right? So that's where the blame can go on both sides. Another way it can go on both sides with the receivers, right? Yeah, the receivers maybe are, but they're only saying we're only calling them because of what we've been seeing. When they were coming out of college, Hollywood was a top pick. Miles Boykin would have been a second round pick if it wasn't for some
True,
things.
but he like 5'9", 160. This is the NFL too at the same time, bro.
I mean, but T.Y. Hilton is 5'11", 179. I mean, that's not too much.
T.Y. got like 3 inches on Hollywood Brown. Think about that, bro.
Man, okay. All I'm saying is this. I think we can't really blame the receivers fully until we see them push the ball more down the field and make more throws. Because when Huntley was in there, I saw Hollywood Brown get like 3 catches on a drive. I saw Miles Boykin catch one over the seam. I saw Willie Snead get a couple. So why weren't they looking that bad when he was in there? But then when Lamar in there is bad. So we have to look at all the things considered when we talk about Lamar Jackson. But bottom line is, I said what I said. Until Lamar develops as a passer, or until Greg Roman and him can get on the page and get that passing game going, he is not my kind of franchise quarterback. He's a franchise quarterback for them. You can't knock what he did with the running and the efficiency he had last year and all of that. But he's not my type of franchise quarterback because I put him in the category of some of these other guys. When the game is out of hand, when the team is up by more than 2 scores in the second half, and you need to throw, I don't believe you can do it because you haven't shown me that. That's that. And then I'll come back later on my second lap with the Bills. Go ahead, CT.
Let me take care of the Bills because this is shorter. Josh Allen, efficient, made it happen. Obviously the strip sack earlier in the game, that was rough. We've been talking about this for a few weeks. Singletary, this running game, they got to figure that out, man. TJ Yeldon was not a bad running back. I'm not sure if he can help them out a little bit, but we need to see something because you can't put this all on Josh Allen. It's not going to work, and they're not going to win if he has to do everything every single game from a passing and running perspective. Stephon Diggs, I've been following this cat since he was at Maryland, man. He's nice, and he's proved it this year, stepping away from the Vikings offensive situation and really showing himself as an elite receiver. So very happy to see his production. There was some concern I know we talked about with John Brown. Good to see him back and made some critical catches, man, some toe taps. He looked good out there today. They got to figure out their kicker situation too. And I'm going to allude to that on the Baltimore situation. 1 for 3 just ain't going to do it. Mm-hmm. That's a bad spot for them. Defensively, I thought they played really solid, obviously holding Baltimore to 3 points in this game. They're getting pressure. That linebacker, Milano, they had lost him earlier in the year. He came back, and he has been proven to be their best cover linebacker. And it showed a couple of stops he made in the game against Mark Andrews, who was one of the better tight ends. It was good to see. And Sean McDermott, man, Leslie Frazier, Dabble, these are all high-quality coaches. McDermott is still underrated and has done so much for this team. So happy to see that. Flipping over to the Ravens, you mentioned there's 2 ways to look at it. Can we blame Greg Roman? Absolutely, we could. And this is the reason I'll start by saying we can blame him is because, and you guys can speak to it, specifically Pat, I'll say, as an offensive coordinator, you design things based on the skill sets of your players or what you believe that they can do, your comfort level and trusting them within the offense and their scheme. So there is a lack of trust in his ability to throw downfield. Why is Huntley getting more opportunity to do so? Well, he's trying to win a job in the NFL. That's one. Obviously, with RG3 gone and McSorley hurt. So he's trying to win a job. I get that. And I think he did earn himself a camp job for sure. But why not trust Lamar? Where's his growth? Where's his evolution going to come from?
You talking now.
Potentially detrimental to his development as we go forward because he'll never be able to overcome this if you're not trusting him or giving him more of the playbook to utilize. You want to go ahead?
Well, I was just saying, I will play devil's advocate in this, and I think Chris said it too. When you have not schemed for a guy, when you have not, practiced for a guy, and your main focus was on Lamar Jackson, absolutely no tape on Tyler Huntley at all, not 0 tape in the NFL. he comes in. I mean, you're gonna make some plays because they're not ready for you. They haven't schemed for you. They don't know your skill set. They don't know what you can do. So that's also it plays a factor. Let's just be honest. It does play a factor. You have a guy, we've seen it time and time again. A guy gets hurt, starter gets hurt, backup comes in, makes a couple plays. Why? Because they have not schemed for him. They know nothing about him, and the whole game plan was for the starting quarterback.
I think it plays a factor in a game. I don't think it plays a factor for a quarter and a half. But go ahead.
I mean, look at Hendo.
Of course.
Even though he played better than that, obviously, but still. And then moving forward with this, I talked about this and we kind of had a little debate about it as far as the running game. I don't think Edwards and Dobbins are enough. I personally don't.
Me.
Just, you know what, man? They looked so solid last year. There was a thunder and lightning component. I don't really see that. I'm not saying they don't run hard. I don't really see the same without Ingram there. They need to figure that out. That's just my opinion based on watching their running game. Receiver-wise, I'll be honest, man. I want to say probably since Anquan Bolden was there, they haven't really had a solid receiving situation.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
I guess so. Yeah.
I've been thinking, for years and years and years on the draft, these cats need to.
Who was that? Was that Jacoby Jones? Was that Jacoby Jones?
Jacoby Jones, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? That's a problem, man, and they haven't really addressed it. I mean, might as well use Dez. He has the experience and can catch.
Man, they got my man Dez out there running fades to clear out, man.
No, hey, Dez had a ball.
Fast.
No, Dez had a ball thrown to him on a hitch route, and he slipped at the top of the route.
Man,
a hitch though for Dez?
He slipped. He threw it to him.
He wasn't none of this about to happen. Y'all, it wasn't none of this about to happen at all. Y'all keep going. Keep it pushing.
For what it was, I don't know if you want to call it garbage time or what, but Hollywood Brown did have 4 catches for 87. I got to get that to him. They need a bigger body receiver. An Allen Robinson type, I think would be good for them. We'll talk free agency another point, but you need a big body guy that can make some moves for you, man, and then you got Hollywood Brown to take off the top. But I mentioned Greg Roman is taking the blame. Also Lamar. This should be your team and your option, in your situation at this point. You should be able to command a little bit more from your offensive coordinator, from your head coach. Look, I see something. I've studied on this. Let me do it.
He ain't proved himself like that yet.
But they're about to pay him, though.
Yeah, but he ain't proved himself like that yet. Not to go.
I wouldn't pay him.
He ain't proved himself yet to get to a place where he can walk over and be like, "Hey, I got this." Not yet, brother.
If statistically you're the MVP, you had these numbers, you did this and that, you willed your team to a certain extent. It wasn't just him, but he willed his team to the playoffs when their season was looking a little murky. They got there.
Hey man, y'all put it in the chat. Y'all put it in the chat too. If y'all watching, put it in the chat. Do you feel like Lamar Jackson has earned the right to walk over to the sideline and go, "This drive's on me"?
Okay, but has he earned the right to get paid then? Because he shouldn't get paid if he can't do that.
I wouldn't pay him yet. Nope, not me.
Well.
Oh, hey, real quick, I want to shout out the Bills nickel corner, Taron Johnson. He's from Sacramento. He coaches my son in the offseason. So shout out. Right. He had to set that record, longest pick in playoff history.
Oh, that was your boy. Shout out to your boy, man.
Yes, sir.
I want to also put something in the chat, and y'all answer me in the chat too, those of you that are watching. And I will say, yeah, I seen that Greg said, do they need one more elite receiver on the Bills? And I'm like, Greg, yeah, Gabe Davis is nice. Gabe Davis is doing his thing. But y'all put this in the chat and let me know. I understand it will be the best offense they face. But going into this division or conference round, I should say, the conference championship, are the Chiefs going to be the worst defense that the Bills have faced in the playoffs?
The Bills have faced? Yeah.
Easily?
Yeah, because the Colts had I remember CT highlighted.
Yeah.
Colts had a top 5 D. Ravens had a top 10 D. Chiefs, we don't know what they ranked. So
all right. Well, there you have it.
Yeah.
Anything else on this game, gentlemen?
Yes, they are not going to get a big time receiver for Baltimore Ravens because for what? If anything, they need to go get another tight end who's a little bit faster and more agile than Andrews because that's who Lamar like to throw to. Getting a big body receiver for what? 40 catches a season? I ain't going there.
Hey,
that's another thing.
Go get Njoku. He's a baller.
There you go.
Yeah, but that is another thing, though, right? It's like I'm not going to go there if I know that I'm not going to get 60, 70 balls a year. And,
You gonna
that's
get
what I
40.
do.
You gonna get
You know
40.
what I mean? But Chris says 3 straight playoffs, the MVP, led the league in touchdown passes, a division title. Yes, pay Lamar.
I agree, but he needs to speak up and do something then. That's my point.
You make him play on the option year and then pay him after that.
Greg says, Pat, we all know that the wide receiver core for the Bills ain't promising for the future. I don't know if I know that.
I don't know that because I
Why?
do know they can't. I do know they can't pay another high target free agent, but they could develop somebody for sure.
Gabe Davis for sure can be developed. I mean, he's
Absolutely.
already kind of developing into something great. You know, John Brown isn't washed yet. Stephon Diggs right now is trying to make a claim, argument as one of the top, if not the top receiver in the league.
Beasley got at least a good 4-5 more years in the slot.
I don't know if he got 4-5 for
I don't know
sure.
about that.
What you mean?
He maybe got 2.
Replacement in this draft, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll say 2-3 max. But they got receivers, but I know they can't pay another free agent. I know that.
No, they do got to get younger though in some places though. I mean, Andre Roberts is strictly a return man. They got the little it's Isaiah. What's 19? I forget 19. McKenzie, Isaiah McKenzie. So they could use
Hodgins
one
on
more.
The practice squad.
Oh, and then they got Isaiah Hodgins. So we'll see what happens with him. He was hurt most of the year. He's a rookie. So you got 2 rookies there that are big bodies that can make plays. So we'll see what happens. Here we go. Let's go over to the Browns and the Chiefs. I called the Browns as an upset.
It was right there.
It was there. I mean, it was right there for him to upset the Chiefs in this one. Patrick Mahomes goes down. Want to point out, I highly, highly doubt the way that man stood up and the way that man started to walk to that sideline. I highly doubt Patrick Mahomes to play next week. If Patrick Mahomes plays next week, something's fishy is going on. I just got to say that because you can't
NFL
get back.
Trying to lose no viewership.
NFL is like, I need my monies. That man playing, put him in there. I don't care if he got the CTE for the rest of his life. That man better play next week. But I just the way he got up, I would highly doubt him playing next week. But as far as the game, highly disappointed for me. I was very disappointed that Kevin Stefanski against the Chiefs gave Kareem Hunt 6 carries. Kareem Hunt was tearing it up the past few weeks. Can we all agree? I mean, Kareem Hunt was running that ball very aggressive. Almost one would say last week he might have been a better back between him and Chubb. And for him to come in this week and get 6 carries, I thought was very, very disrespectful. But on the flip side of that, Williams, from another Williams kid, come out of nowhere for the Chiefs, puts up 78 yards. We have another Williams that opted out and ain't even playing. But for him to only put up, he came in, put up 78 yards, and then you have Kelsey who goes for 109. You have Tyreek Hill who goes for 110. I was very confused as to why they did not give, and even with Nick Chubb having 13 carries, you know what I mean? I thought that this was a game right there early, especially where they could have ran the ball a lot better, a lot more. They were being effective in the run. What I saw that was irritating me, they had great success running in between the tackles. For some reason, they started trying to run stretches and toss and all that. And I'm like, that's not Nick Chubb's game. Like, put the ball up in between the tackles and run the ball strong. But it was an issue with that. I had an issue with that. I gotta say, Chad Henne was 6 of 8, 66 yards, 1 interception. If he has to start next week,
it's a wrap.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty tough for those boys. Le'Veon Bell 2 carries. So I guess that's pretty much a sign to say he's not going to be a factor going forward. Clyde Edwards-Helaire probably will be back next week. Potentially,
he was a game time decision today, so he'll play next week.
Right, so he'll probably play next week. But I guess with Stefanski, I just didn't get it. You only had Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb combined for 19 carries between the two. And then, Njoku was your number 2 leading receiver today.
Hey, that
at the tight end position. But I will say that the Browns play tough. They play strong. I think another issue was with Myles Garrett going down. That let Chad Henne get kind of comfortable back there late and complete a couple passes that he, normally if you got Myles Garrett bearing down on you, then you wouldn't complete those passes. Tyrann Mathieu had a really, really great game in the secondary. Had the pick, had led the team in tackles. But yeah, man, I think the Browns just barely fell short. I definitely thought they was going to pull it out. But Chiefs got it done. CT.
Yeah, I was looking back at the tape, quarter by quarter, the breakdown of points, what potentially led to them not running the ball more. 13-3 in the second quarter. It is the Chiefs. I do understand where you can get a little bit antsy, a little hesitant, and feel like you got to press it a little bit. I think that's kind of what happened here. Instead of staying true to their game, they can score points. The Browns have proven that. So you're not out of the game at 13-3. You're really not. You're down 10. That's not a bad situation, considering who you're playing against. I missed a hit on Patrick Mahomes, so I didn't see him get up. But it was just crazy, man. These quarterbacks are getting knocked down, bro. What can you do? It's going to be troubling, for them as they figure that out. Don't rush him back if he ain't ready, man. You're talking about a man's mental. I know what it is right now and what time it is, but don't do that. You invested way too much money, man. You need to see this guy healthy and able to really make those decisions the right way. Chad Henne, say what you want, man. That was a big conversion. Put his head down, let him know, like, look, I want this. I could appreciate that, man. Another Williams, and he looked good, to be honest with you. He's doing well. And I told you, man, I just got a feeling, man, I don't know about Le'Veon going forward, man. Hilaire didn't even play, and you got 2 carries.
Yeah, it's looking like the Chiefs is where running backs' careers come to die. Like older running backs, they did to LaShawn McCoy last year. Exactly. This year is Le'Veon Bell. So
he just said, "Let me get a ring." Tyreek Hill, awesome. Big plays. Literally the play that solidified the win. Travis Kelce, baller. McCole Hardman, I like the way he runs. He's so smooth. They got to find different ways to continue to get him involved with the bubble routes, the end arounds, and things like that. He's a baller. And Tyrann Mathieu coming up big, as usual. One of the better players we have in this league. Defensively, I thought they were okay. I just don't love their defense. I never have. But they do enough to get the job done because they can maintain some of these offenses. Baker, good learning experience. Didn't play bad, but didn't do enough to win. I do like Chubb's numbers, but maybe give him the ball a little bit more. Kareem Hunt, you definitely could have gave him 4 or 5 more carries, specifically because he's playing his old team. And he probably really, really wanted that. And sometimes that gives people the edge, especially the way he runs. Higgins, I think they'll bring him back. He's been producing for them. And Njoku, I just love watching his game, man. I don't know if it's because he got Dresney where 85, he kind of remind me of Vernon. But I really enjoy watching him. And I believe that he was wrong this year in regards to, Hopper, whatever, taking his spot as the number 1 tight end. I completely disagree. And if he needs to go elsewhere to prove how good Njoku can really be, then handle your business and get paid. Defensively for the Browns, Garrett is a beast, man. You see how important his presence is on the field, how they missed him when he went out, the little Gimpy. They need to continue to solidify this defense. They let go of one of their linebackers that went to the Packers last year.
Kirksey.
I thought that was a mistake because they were starting to get some ballers that really made a difference, and I don't think they were good enough to put themselves in a position to just get rid of people like that if they could afford it. I'm not saying they could, but they should have tried to make something happen. And then obviously not having Olivier Vernon towards Achilles, I want to say last week or something like that. That's another guy that could have done some work in the pass rushing game. So shout out to the Browns just for putting a hell of a season together. I think this will show to be kind of the turnaround for them as they go forward. This could be a team that will make the playoffs for a few more years, led by Baker Mayfield, and they'll learn from this experience. So I definitely want to give them credit for getting this far.
Hey, man, I was surprised by Baker. He made some good throws, but this game, to me, was much like the game we're going to talk about next. Missed opportunities. Higgins had a touchdown, and he fumbled too early.
Yeah.
He channeled in his inner Derek Carr, fumbling into the back of the end zone. That was a horrible play. And then you had another drop by Jarvis Landry when they were driving, that bring up a third down, which they didn't end up converting. So that was big. But this matchup next week. Oh, you talk about the Patrick Mahomes hit. I saw it in slow motion. What's crazy to me is I didn't see him get hit in the head. I just think it was the impact of the hit was
so
the
his
thing.
his head hit the ground on some like DDT stuff, but it was also the way his neck was kind of contorted during the hit. Probably contributed to what was going on there.
That's what I was thinking. It had to be more neck because even when he went to the ground path, the angle that I saw, the slow motion, he didn't really hit his hand on the ground either.
He did right there on the ground.
I didn't see it, maybe, but I know he didn't get hit.
Right on the ground, but right in frontal lobe. My man is
a good description, bro. DDT was a good description.
My goodness. Yeah. Okay, but yeah. So if he doesn't play, this was already to me a bad matchup for the Chiefs. But because it's Mahomes, I was gonna give him the edge. But without Mahomes, I don't really give them a shot because the DBs for the Chiefs just don't match up well with the wide receivers for the Bills.
Diggs gonna go crazy.
Diggs is gonna be guarded by Fuller, who was getting torched by a hyperextended Mike Evans. Mm-hmm. So that's a bad matchup. On the other side, you got the rookie Snead going against experienced John Brown, who, like you said, is getting comfortable. Gabe Davis is here. The only good matchup they have in the secondary is Tyrann Mathieu versus Dawson Knox.
Let me touch on what Juan just said. Juan said, "What's your prediction on OBJ?" I honestly feel like today's game is probably going to keep OBJ around because they really didn't have a number one to lean on or to draw some coverage away from those underneath guys like Higgins and Jarvis Landry. And I think if they had an OBJ in today's game, then I could have rolled the coverage. You might have seen some cloud coverage over OBJ, something like that could have opened up, Jarvis or Higgins underneath. So
that's a good point because in the broadcast you heard, I think it was Romo? Whoever was calling this game, Romo had said the Browns cannot stretch the field. Mm-mm. No one's stretching the field. Higgins can a little bit, but not as consistently as OBJ. Right. So now we go with the offense, man. The thing that I can appreciate is when Mahomes went down, you saw it on their faces and you saw it in their play and how aggressive they were as far as attacking the ball, fighting for extra yards. You saw how the receivers reacted. Tyreek Hill went up and got that ball out the air, got up and did a little, slammed the ball, got a little emotional, he aggressive. They wanted this game for him. Travis Kelce even played like that after with his catches that he was making. So you can appreciate that them trying to fight for their guy, but it's not a good matchup going forward. As far as the Browns go, they just I'm glad Carl Joseph got a pick. We should never let him go, Raiders.
It was like a punt return.
Right. I'm glad he got the pick, but until Baker and Lamar Jackson to me are in the same boat. Just Baker's obviously a better passer, but when the game is 2 touchdowns more, when they're up by 2 scores, and the ball has to be put on your shoulders, Chris touched on it in the chat. Can you go get me the win? Couldn't do it. So, and by the way, CT and Njoku's not coming back because he was demanding a trade as soon as the Hopper thing went down. He about to be out of there. He out of there.
Yeah. All right. The moment many of you have been waiting for. The Saints versus the Bucks. The Buccaneers win this game 30-20. And go on to the NFC Conference Championship game. I want to lead off by saying this. I know the score of this game was 30-20, but this was very much so for me a defensive battle. This was a defensive game for most of this game. The reason why I say that is this: if you look at the overall stats on this game, as a team, the Buccaneers put up 316 total yards of offense. The Saints put up 294. So they both, one barely got over 300. One didn't even get to 300. And we're talking about Tom Brady and Drew Brees, who, normally, traditionally, you're going to see that ball in the air and it's just going to be flying around. Tom Brady was 18 to 33, 199 yards, 2 touchdowns. Brees was 19 to 34, 134 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions.
Buns.
Was very, very bad. And I will say, I do believe now is the time that, Breeze, go out on your shield, bro. Like this is your time to retire and let the young boys fly. I thought it was very telling in the game. I told you this, guys, earlier. I thought it was very, very, very telling to where Drew Brees at is in his career when they had to pull him to put Jameis in to throw a deep ball. Like,
that's basically what it was. Yeah.
I mean, let's call a spade a spade. People gonna say, "Oh no, it was scheme." No. They pulled Drew Brees out to put Jameis in to throw a deep ball, and I think that's kind of where we've gotten a situation where Drew it's time to just go ahead and hang that up. But for neither one of the quarterbacks to throw over 200 yards, I think you had a defensive game that really went well. Chris Godwin played solid 4 for 34. Antonio Brown got hurt, and I thought it was kind of funny to see Antonio Brown get hurt, Quan, and then see Scotty Miller come in and go down 29 yards and
he saw him get up with the let's go.
You know what I mean? Kind of do what he did.
Look nice.
Michael Thomas, 4 targets, 0 catches.
Buns.
And I was talking to Chris Quan earlier. The turning point in this game for me, and I'm gonna just keep it as real as I want. Definitely, Chris. Devin White was definitely the MVP of this game. I mean, that boy was everywhere.
Yes,
11 tackles, 1 tackle for a loss. But the turning point in this game for me personally was Jared Cook's fumble. Jared Cook fumbled, and at that point in the game, it was 20-13, and the Saints were driving. And you kind of got the feel on that drive. It was a drive where points were coming out of that drive, right? It was either they was going to score a touchdown, go up 27-13, and or it was going to be, a field goal, go up 23-13. And I think that was the turning point for me in this game, because what that essentially did is that once that happened, and then the Bucs come back and they score off of that turnover. Well, guess what? Now it's 20-20, and Drew Brees has to continue to put the ball in the air. If they go up 27-13, they can lean on Alvin Kamara more. He can run the ball more, and they can drag that clock and tick that clock as fast as they want to. But that did not occur because of the Jared Cook fumble. Now you have a situation where Drew Brees has to put the ball in the air, and I mean, them picks was so inexcusable. It was just like the ball just was hanging in the air, you know what I mean? And I will say this. Marshawn Lattimore is a dog. He's a dog, bro. Like, he plays corner so aggressive and so well. He's a dog. Malcolm Jenkins was playing like a dog today. That secondary up in New Orleans is up to something. They got something cooking up there. I would have been excited to kind of see what they could have done against Devontae Adams and those guys on next week. But Tom Brady was calm, cool, and collected.
Yeah.
18 of 33, so he completed about 50% of his passes. So it wasn't like a crazy day, so to speak. Don't use my term. And I think that was another thing. I didn't see that coming into this game. No Taysom Hill.
Yeah.
No Latavius Murray. Then you have Deontay Harris that basically dang near took 2 punt returns to the crib. One was called back because of a block in the back that was questionable, I might add. And then the other one, he took it down and they couldn't punch it in for a score early in the game. But if Deontay Harris, I mean, so it's like I know it's always if, but when you're missing Taysom Hill, Murray, and Harris, who are 3 cogs in that offense, that are 3 focal points of that offense, it makes the game tougher. It makes the game harder. And you've seen that. And I think this was a situation where Tom Brady didn't show his greatness by statistics, But he showed his greatness just by being there, being consistent, being around. Because I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, I'm not gonna let Chris or no one else come in and just be like, oh, Brady, oh my God, Brady. I mean, it was 18-33 for 199. I mean, it's like that's not like he didn't go crazy, but he was Mr. Consistency and did what he has to do as far as just being consistent and being. Quan, it's on you.
This was tailored to taste, man. You could clearly see Tom just has a better arm than Drew Brees
At this moment.
At this moment, Drew Brees, all his throws, you were just fluttering. The first pick he threw for the pick six, that was the horrible ball. He panicked because there was pressure. Even if that ball was thrown and it wasn't pressure, he still threw it behind Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas showed today. I know he didn't play a lot. He was injured a lot this year, but he showed today he can't get off press. Now, I'm not saying this is, going into next season when he's fully healthy, he's different. I get it. But I mentioned this today. And now, CT, I'm going to let you go. My allergies acting crazy right now. I'm going to let you go. The Bucks' defensive game plan was perfect. It was, we going to let our corners just press man all game. Make Drew Brees have to make tight window throws, and we don't think their receivers can get off press. And for the most part, they couldn't. For the most part, they couldn't. Jared Cook, not only that fumble pat, he dropped that other interception. It was a drop, but Drew Brees was a bad throw.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you're talking about the one where it literally went through Jared Cook's hands, like
it was a drop, but he had to do
come on, bro.
But he had to do this.
No, I'm talking about the one that was in front of him. I'm talking about the one that was in front of him and went and hit. I want to say it was Winfield in the chest and he dropped it. But I mean, it was just like Jared Cook is. He might got to head out with Drew.
Probably, but Drew Brees didn't throw anything over 7 yards.
I
mean, what you gonna do? They should have benched him, but we knew they weren't gonna do that because of the story.
They should have. No, seriously. They definitely should have benched him. I mean, Jameis came in and threw a dot to 10, threw a dot to him, and it's another chronic case of I'm gonna live with my guy and I'm gonna die with my guy. And I just believe, honestly, this is just my truth. I don't care what nobody else says. My truth says this: if Jameis Winston, and we know Jameis Winston's history, I just feel like if they would have pulled Drew after pick 2 or whatever, when it was still a game, if they would have pulled Drew and put Jameis in, I just feel like we're talking a different situation right now.
Ooh, man, you possibly right.
Just because one, Jameis, he has a more live arm right now. So there's certain things he putting it on him. Bang, bang. Now I do believe that, and I would have loved, honestly, what would that like read that report? Like Jameis Winston comes in against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and leads the New Orleans Saints to victory to go to the conference championship over the Tampa Bay Bucks. Would have been a nice storyline.
CT, go ahead.
I appreciate that. Hot take.
There you go.
What I'm going to say is I'll start with Tampa. Tom Brady did enough to win. You do got to give that man some love, man. 14, division winning games. Nobody's even close to that. The closest is 7, and I think it's like Joe Montana and some other guys. No disrespect, but that's obviously a big feat there. You could also make the argument it was the AFC East. So, yeah. But anyway, I'm not going to hate on Tom. Leonard Fournette. I've always liked him, man. To be as big as he is, he's light on his feet. He looked quicker. He looked fresher than I've seen him in a while. They needed him, and I believe he's paid dividends and should stay with the team going forward. They tried to distribute the ball the best they could. Grant got clamped on with Malcolm Jenkins. You need to see a little bit more. I know Evans ain't healthy, man, but you're going to need him if you really want to pull this off. Leonard Fournette is a finesse running back. He's not a physical running back. I'll just leave it at that.
Antonio Brown might be hurt. We don't know what's going on with that.
Antonio Brown, that's huge as well. Devin White, definitely the MVP. Been a baller, one of the better linebackers in the league. A lot of passes deflected today. Part of it is just, unfortunately, Drew Brees' arm. You got to remember, man, his shoulder wasn't right. that really changed his career, in my opinion. And he kind of hung in there for years and upon years. But that shoulder is definitely done. I think that has a lot to do with this deciding factor and then what you were able to see on tape. So switching over to the Saints, Breeze looked bad. I got my notes right here, guys. My little boogie board. You know what I'm saying? I took my son's boogie board.
He ready, sir.
But and I was interested why they put Jameson, because they've been doing Taysom, plays and mixes and things like that. But you finally wanted to use Jameis because you knew. You can't be denied. Jameis was a first-round pick for a reason. I understand he was ESPN 30 for 30 last year. But at the same time, the guy has talent. He threw for 5,000 yards. I don't care how you want to say it and slice it. Like, the guy can play. And actually would be beautiful in this system. So I'd be really interested to see what they do this offseason, pay Jameis and allow him to take over this offense and see how they go. Alvin Kamara, solid player, man. 18 carries, 85 yards. You need a power back, though. I'm going to keep it real with you. But I love what he's able to do. I'm big on top.
Today.
Yeah, he was hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Michael Thomas. I've never, ever in my life felt that he was the best receiver in the league.
No.
Never. I know what his stats say. I know what he's, done, but I just don't see it. And this is a classic case of that. Yes, he has been injured, but that was a real small effort. Jared Cook, he got to go, man. He's had some great plays in his career, but I've also seen a lot of drops in his career. He played for the Raiders for a second.
He should have never left the Raiders, but he wanted to get paid.
I ain't gonna check nobody's money though, Quan. You can't check that man money.
I didn't, but the Raiders offered him a contract. He said, "Nah, I'm gonna go elsewhere and get more." It's almost like we're gonna offer you 30, but I want 33.
And while CT is finishing up, I want to pose a question for the chat to write these things down in the chat. And Chris, I know you're the huge Tom Brady guy, and I guess that makes you a Tampa Bay guy right now. Is it cause for concern that the starting receivers combined for 47 yards receiving today, going into the conference championship? I just want to put that in the chat. Is that cause for concern for you guys at all? Go ahead, CT.
No worries. Not a lot to say, man. It's been a good ride to see Drew Brees play in this league and be number 2 in a lot of different categories. Definitely will appreciate his game. He's going to go on a broadcasting and make a lot of money. That was kind of on the table for him as well. Stay healthy and sit there and talk about the game. So he will be doing that. But
he'll be with Romo talking at CBS. He'll be the analyst like Romo.
Yeah, but it's time. Respect to him and his family, but it's definitely time. So salute Drew Brees, but Tampa, good job today. Bruce Arians and Brady and the boys, they deserve it. And Byron Leftwich too.
Shout out to Byron Leftwich for sure. Hey, I'm gonna see if we can get sponsored by Zyrtec or Clarington for my guy.
Bro, it is bad, bro.
I'm gonna see if Zyrtec or Clarington come holler at
I have the worst allergies ever, but let me just say this for the chat. I am healthy. It's not COVID. I get tested once a week. I just gotta put that out there.
Hey, you ain't gotta tell them that they can't catch it through the screen.
I know. I'm just letting. Look, we're doing field level safe. The field level is safe. Okay.
So I see. Like I said, so Chris, that even furthers my question. Chris says those wide receivers have about 7 drops the previous week. This week, Godwin had a drop, but overall, I think they played well. But is there cause for concern going in? And I want to say this. I have to say this. For me, honestly, Jair Alexander is one of the most underrated corners, and I talked about him on Wednesday. They don't even throw his side. They don't even try him. Like, it's like, I'm not even going to try that guy. But, then you have King who does, decent. But is that cause for concern? I really believe it might be. And I see Juan said no concern. It was a division game and always tough. Lattimore has Evans on lock. So then my mom says concern for sure. Packers want to give them a run for their money. I just feel like, I have to speak about that because I would be doing a disservice as a host if I don't say, if they come out and do, okay, so if AB is hurt, it might be. Okay, for sure. Definitely can see, where that can. Honestly, if AB is hurt, I don't know. I mean, Aaron Rodgers.
Scotty Miller's just fine.
He's gonna be just fine. But Aaron Rodgers is so good, bro. Like, as much as everybody talks about Tom Brady, I think this is what I was talking about earlier. I want to say like a week or two ago when I was like, hey, is Aaron Rodgers underappreciated? Like, is he underrated in some cases? This is the case that I'm talking about. Going into this game is going to be so much talk about Tom Brady, right? So much talk about Tom Brady. Aaron Rodgers is so good, bro. Like, Aaron Rodgers is good. And like you said, he needs this. And I feel like this is a situation where Aaron Rodgers he's heard the talk ever since they pulled the plug or pulled the string and got Love. And as soon as they brought Love in, he's been a man on a mission. And can we say he's the MVP? He's the MVP of this year.
Oh yeah,
I don't care.
Yeah.
A-Rod's the MVP. And I think this is going to be a situation where this is going to be a game, bro. And it's going to come down to Devin White and Jones.
Levante David versus Jones, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's going to come down to. But because I don't see no corner on there checking Devontae Adams at all. Like, they don't have a corner that's going to be able to check Devontae Adams in the least. So that's what it's going to come down to. But we're going to save all that for Wednesday night show. This was literally just the recap, just recapping what happened. But Wednesday night, we're going to come on. We're going to have the discussions about the NFC Conference Championship, the AFC Conference Championship. Y'all, I'm telling y'all, you want to be back here so we can really get into this dialogue. And I don't know how y'all feel. I want to invite some people on Wednesday. So, you know, Chris, if you got time, I want to bring you on just to have a chat right quick. And you can hop off. You know, Juan, if you're available, bring them on. Let's have a chat. Greg, if you're available, come on. Let's have a chat. Sadi, you know, Craig, whoever's available on Wednesday, I want to bring you guys on, put you on the screen, and let's talk about what potentially could be happening, you know, in this NFC and AFC championship. I'm definitely down for that. If y'all are down for it, please, we'll DM you guys, or you guys DM us on Instagram, on Twitter, wherever we are, and let's have a real conversation to kind of get into this NFC and AFC championship, because then after that, we talking Super Bowl, and then after that, we talking off season. I'm excited about. I don't know why I want to hurry up and get to the off season, bro. I just want to go talk off season. Rodgers has scored 3 points in the last 3 NFC title games in the first half. So is that what you're predicting for Sunday? Are you predicting that Aaron Rodgers is going to score 3 points this year the way he's been playing in the first half of Sunday's game? If you are, I will add that to your hot takes, your mini hot takes that you put out there. You know what I'm saying? Let's do that though. Anything else, my guys? Final words.
No.
As the offseason approaches, I definitely want to talk about some of these head coaching situations, man. I felt some frustration, you know, on what the was it Detroit? No, not Detroit.
I hate him so much. I swear to God, I hate him.
With the Chargers, with the decision they made. I don't get it, to be honest with you. But you know, we'll see what happens, and we'll pray that the deserving candidates that have been sticking their neck out there and producing get the opportunities that they deserve. So we'll see what happens.
Yes, sir.
Quan, anything? You all good, Quan?
Oh, I'm gonna go take some Allegra, something.
Hey, handle it, man. See if they can get the sponsor going. So we'll be back with you guys Wednesday night, 8:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here on YouTube Live or on Facebook Live, whichever one you're watching us on. If you're watching us on any of those two, go ahead on subscribe, hit the notification button to let the people know so that you can know when we're on and when we are live. Also, follow us on Instagram at The Field Level, and follow us on Twitter at The Field Level 1. Make sure that you guys connect with us, and let's get this thing going all throughout the year. It's going to be some fun topics coming up. I mean, if y'all thought the regular season was good, the off season's even better. So follow us, hit us up. We want you on the show Wednesday. Come on, be a part of the show, be a part of the Field Level family. I'm Pat. That's CT. That's Quan. It's The Field Level, the football podcast of the West Coast.